So everybody has habits, and one of mine is to read the news before or during dinner. Every time I do this, I say, has the world ended yet? And of course I can always say no, but sometimes it feels like the world might end tomorrow. There have been and are protests in Brazil, Spain, Portugal, France, Italy, Turkey, and at the moment in the Ukraine. I see the violence. And then you get the news of one celebrity or another getting married. News comes in every day. We have a choice to either take it in or ignore it. For me, there have been a lot of stories that I've ignored. Mostly because I knew they would make me extremely sad. There are of course a lot of options of how I want to consume my news. Do I want it objective, subjective, a short story, or do I really want an in-depth analysis, or in easy words, in the more difficult words? Do I want it in Dutch, in English, in French, in German? I have so many choices in where I get my news. I love my media, but sometimes I also hate it because sometimes I don't get the option to ignore a story. There was this social experiment in America about, do people know more about Justin Bieber or the news? And I'm sad to say, even though I am not a Bieber fan, I probably know more about him than the news. I know the exact number Facebook paid for WhatsApp, but I don't know exactly why the people in the Ukraine are fighting. News is both subjective and objective, as journalists have their own opinions and they will influence the way they report. Which is also one of the reasons why the opening ceremony of the Russian Olympics is quite interesting. To me, it looks like propaganda, making the Soviet Union look great. But that's from my perspective as somebody who's learned it from the Western history books. However, it might be that for a Russian this was really what it felt like. Then you notice that even on factual events there are two different sides. Outsider view and the insider view. Although we get more and more access to the insider view, we are still the outsider. We can now find why the people in Ukraine are protesting, but we are still from the outside looking in, which is an interesting thing to think about. That the place you live in has so much influence on what information you get and in what way the news is reported. Over here, the world hasn't ended yet. However, in Kiev, it looks like it has. And I'm really just waiting for the protests to get over here. Somehow Justin Bieber has been made important and I don't get it. There is so much more to worry about. There are people fighting and there are people dying of hunger and there's not enough water and there's too much food but not in the right places, and there's so much more to worry about. But we apparently want to know about Justin Bieber getting arrested for drunk driving. And I know drunk driving is bad, but why should he be in the news for it? He's a stupid little boy and he should not be in the news.